too late, way too late, born too late to be a punk. Born too late, way too late, born too late for that outro, that outro.
Hello and welcome to the Born Too Late podcast. This is Josh Rutledge, here as always with my friend Jay Castro, and we have some double trouble tonight. In the studio with us, we've got Mr. Brad Marino, Mr. Teddy Spaghetty. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Hey, Josh. Hey guys, how you doing?
We are
Good.
We are doing well.
Thank you for joining us. By the way,
We are glad to have you on the show. And I was just curious because I know that the new record is not the first time that the two of you have worked together. So I was just wondering if there was a story behind how you ended up working together, like what was the origin of this superpower alliance?
Well, and Brad is very suave, and he's very charismatic, as well as handsome, and he just wooed me with his, charms.
True. That's the story. Yeah,
I don't know if there's a better story, Brad.
I think the first time I just shot Teddy an email, like I had purchased a couple records from Spaghetty Town, and was a fan of what he was doing, and I think I was looking for somebody to release that record on vinyl in the U.S. So I reached out.
That was looking for trouble for sale now.
Yep. So that's how we kind of hooked up for Looking for Trouble. We didn't really know each other.
No.
Yeah, Ted took a chance on it, so must have been a fairly decent record.
The other thing Brad came to the table with, and I tell a lot of other bands this, is he was like, "Hey, Beluga and Ghost Highway in Europe are going to co-release this," and I said, those are buddies of mine. I'm like, I'm even double interested because they also have great taste, like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Like I've worked with Marco with Ghost Highway for years. He did some connection releases, like Spanish versions of our albums, and so I knew Marco. And those two guys
that was for El Conexion.
El Conexion. I forget how they said "Let It Rock."
I don't know.
There was a Spanish version of "Let It Rock," and there's a Spanish version of "Labor Love," another record of ours. So Marco, known him for years. I've never met Trevor, but I also knew him. He did my first solo single, 4-track Attack, was like an EP in like 2018 or something. So those guys have always been great to work with, and I like how all three of you guys kind of do it. It's kind of cool when the labels can work together like that, because all three labels have like built-in audiences and people who follow them and what they do. And like Teddy said, I would say that people that follow those labels, the fans too, have like great taste. So because I think all three labels legitimately put out like great rock and roll and punk rock records. I think, not blowing smoke, Teddy, but I mean I think it's true that there's a lot of labels out there, and it helps to have work with a good one that also has like a good reputation and like picks and chooses their releases carefully, doesn't just sign everyone. And sometimes, to your point, Ted, like you can't sign everybody or release everything that people.
No, you can't.
So it's it's quality over quantity with all those labels. So
it's funny too. I was talking to Marco today, and we were exchanging catalog numbers for a future release, and he was into the 300s, and I was like, Marco has had over 300. Trevor's well into like near 200.
Yeah,
I'm like 70, but I'm like he's Marco's closer to 400, and I'm like, that is a insane amount of releases.
I know. I should look now that you mentioned the catalog. Like, I feel like the Connection were one of the. I think he started in like 2012 or 13, which I feel like I remember when he reached out to Jeff and I, and was asking about doing a release for Let It Rock, and he was like, I must have been one of the first releases.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
Well, you know, as a fan, when you see an LP that's being released by like 3 or 4 different labels, you automatically just, at least in my brain, I go, that's got to be good if all 3 of these labels are after this LP. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like a seal of quality. You're like, wow, all these people thought enough of this LP to release it. You know, it's so. Yeah, it says that to me anyway. But
also for me, it takes a lot of the. You're not 100% responsible for everything, but you have another person backing it that you're confident in what they also do.
Mm.
You know, it's been vouched for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as an artist, like it's great for me, and I use that term loosely, artist, but like knowing that, like for me, that like the biggest market for my music, and I think for a lot of bands of my ilk, is obviously Spain, right? But like Ted can't ship to Spain with the shipping rates and everything like that. So if you have a US only label, you're dead in the water. And so I mean, there's distro and everything, but some labels, smaller labels, don't know how to get into the distro channels, or it's just, for me, it's a must to have the record available for the fans in Spain.
Sure.
And I would say Sweden is probably my number 2 market, like when I look at streaming numbers and everything. And like Trevor always tells me, he sells a lot of my records, so it's great to have that market cornered, and then like have somebody here, Ted, focusing on the US market, which, you know, obviously there's hopefully a lot of people here too that, you know, listen to the music and will hopefully buy a vinyl or a CD or something to support the label. So yeah, and I don't have to ship anything. It's just nice.
Yeah.
Reputable 3 reputable guys, you know, like handling it. I know they're going to ship the records and, you know, get them into people's hands properly. So
yeah. So Teddy, were you a fan of The Connection before you started releasing Brad's solo stuff?
I actually wasn't I have to admit, I was not familiar with The Connection before that. I don't know. It's every once in a while you have it like bands where you're like, I don't know how I missed this band the first time around. This is really weird. Like, this is exactly what I'm into. And then, yeah, I kind of like listen to Connection. I'm like, how did I miss this the first time around? But there's always that random band that you kind of just missed. Sorry, Brad.
Yeah, no, which to be honest, I thought that was I remember that from back in like 2021, 2020 when we were talking. And honestly, that's better for me, right? As a solo artist, like you signed me on my own merit. It had nothing to do with like my past.
That's true.
So for me, you know, honestly, I mean, it was a little, you know, it's like flattering. At that point, that was only my second solo record. So the fact that any label was interested in putting it out, you know, is a big deal. And like I said, you know, it wasn't because of, oh, you used to be in the Connection, maybe some Connection fans will buy it. You didn't even know about the Connections.
Yeah, which is really random. I was like, I don't know how I missed this, but you know,
it happens.
Yeah, and you always are kicked. It's actually worse when the band has played your city and you're like, they played here last year and I missed it, and I don't know what the hell happened.
Well, the thing is too with the Connection too, I mean, it sounds crazy to say this, but like, you know, 10 or 12 years ago now, it was the Connection's like prime. So, and streaming and everything, I think even back then, not everybody like streamed music, or it's even a little different now, I think, than 10, 13 years ago. So, you know, like now, like I do personally, like a music playlist. I used to use Spotify, now I use Apple, but I try to keep track. Like I'll read your blog, Josh, and you know, and Jay too. Like I'll just actively follow like what's new in music, and I have a 2020. I think I've done it for like 6 or 7 years. Like, and just if I see a review or I see somebody sharing a record, you know, I'll add it to my playlist just so I can listen to it personally and kind of stay on top of what's new in music.
So we're dying to get the word out. New album, Agent of Chaos. So what do you want the listeners to know about this record?
That it's really good, in my opinion. I think what listeners, so if anybody's familiar with my music, I mean, you're going to get what you would expect, I guess, from a Brad Marino record. I mean, for the most part, besides that Basement Beat record a few years back, like It's just like a mix of, everybody obviously, just says, oh, Ramones, whatever. And it's just like, yes, we all get that. But I would hope that, the average listener knows it's more than just, a Ramones influence. I feel like there's a good mix of songs. There's like the usual kind of like real kids-ish kind of rock and roll. And there's definitely a foray into the more punk songs. The latest single has a bit of a country twang to it. So I just think it's a really solid record that like kind of hits the diversity, checks off all the diversity boxes of a record that I would like without any song being like too out of left field. So I think it's, whether it's your first Brad Marino record that you're checking out or you're already a fan, I think that it works both ways.
Cool. So Josh asked you if there's anything you want the world to know about your LP, but I'm going to ask you, is there anything you don't want the world to know about this record? Any inside jokes, any hidden satanic messages in there?
Well, yeah, if you play, Voodoo backwards, no.
I thought it was Devil May Care. If you played that, I'll be like,
yeah, Devil May Care backwards. Yeah, that's.
I knew it.
No. I mean, nothing off the top of my head.
So actually, I can tell a funny story that about the record. So there's a running thing that I check every record. I release them and then I check the thanks list after the record comes out. And sometimes I'm like, son of a bitch! Like, how did the band not thank the labels? Like, this is like, I'm like, they thank the guy at their deli, but they didn't thank the label. And so I got Brad's record, and I was like, I don't remember if he thanked me or not. I'm like, let's get into it. I started going through it, and I'm like, oh, he didn't thank anyone. I'm like I guess he still stays on a good book.
You can't, like I said, like I texted you, you can't omit anybody if you don't thank anybody. You can't omit anyone if you don't.
It was genius. I'm like, motherfucker.
That was totally. Honestly, I don't know what happened with that because I usually do a thank you, and probably everybody on this phone call usually makes it into the thank you list. I don't know how that happened, but that's a very good, something I don't want anybody to know. They'll find out if I buy the record, but
I've looked through like other records of mine, and I'm like, how do they? And then other bands I was texting, they're like, no, Ted, the record you put out from us 10 years ago, we thanked you. And I'm like, good thing. I'm like, I noticed now.
That is, I will say, not to throw anybody under the bus, but yeah, that would be a little weird, I think. I tend to like at least name drop the labels.
On the flip side too, Gene Champagne was like, oh, I didn't know my picture made it to the inside of the record. And I'm like, well, you do in fact play on the record, Gene.
I literally asked him for a photo, so if you're listening.
Like, I didn't know I made it. I didn't know my photo made it.
Yeah, your photo made it. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, I know a fun fact or something about, speaking of photos. So yes, Gene has a photo in the insert. Everybody that played on it got a little photo, but on the back cover, poor Craig, he's pictured on the back cover. He doesn't play on the record at all. Sorry, Craig, but I liked the photo. It was in Dresden, Germany.
So it was cutting room floor, left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. So sorry, Craig. Yeah, maybe we'll get into like who played and why and what later.
So you had mentioned you did the Basement Beat record, which was a little bit of a departure from the other records, but you've put out a lot of albums now that pretty similar in style. So, as Brad Marino, do you ever get tired of sounding like Brad Marino? You do this really great straight ahead rock and roll, and you're really good at it. But like, do you envision yourself like maybe you're going to outgrow that someday? You're going to pull a Kid Rock and just sort of switch genres every 5 years.
Hopefully not. Hopefully I don't pull a Kid Rock now. But no, it's a good question. I mean, no. No, I never get tired of my own voice, Josh. No. Actually, truth be told, I sort of already have like the next record written. And I did sort of. It is. I do sort of want that one to be a tad different. Like I don't want to do anything like drastic, but you know, I feel like the next song's gonna have. I mean, next album is gonna have maybe some more like acoustic type songs, or make it a little more rootsy or something. We'll see.
Yeah, he didn't want to say it, but the whole record is performed by AI. The next record.
It's got a more industrial feel.
Just the drums.
See, we're getting there.
So you don't see yourself maybe someday adopting like an alter ego like Garth Brooks did with Chris Gaines?
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, like a dark, brooding, like I said, something that could have been on Wax Tracks. Brad Marino drops Nine Inch Nails collab.
Yeah, I could do. I think if I did anything, it would be like a Gigi style record under.
Nice.
Because you're all from New Hampshire, you have to do a Gigi style record.
Being from New Hampshire, I'd have to like shit on stage and come up with some horrible, Well, basically, like Gigi, I would just have to like nick some songs off and change the lyrics.
He's gonna call Brad and the Batters. That's what it's gonna be.
That's going to be your alter ego.
Yes.
Alter ego band. Jay, have you ever thought of that? Like you're going to go so far out of your usual lane that you would need an alter ego, like for your really like your dark wave podcast.
Honestly, I have thought of that before, but then I'm like, that's just ridiculous. I couldn't keep up the charade.
It's gonna be Jay's OnlyFans account where his alter ego shines.
So we have a similar question for you, Teddy. Everyone knows your record label because it's dependable. We know we're getting great rock and roll if it's on Spaghetty Town, but like could you ever see yourself like getting into smooth jazz or black metal and like tooling the label?
So it's funny, like I have friends who are like, I didn't know you listen to that genre, or you listen to that. And I'm like, well, like I have pretty broad taste. And they'll be like, oh, maybe you want to do that on the label. And I'm like, that's not my base. That's not what I like. I don't have like the contacts. I don't know the people, and it would confuse the existing fan base of the label to really switch it up. Even going to like power pop's not a stretch, but for some people they were like, for example, this last month I had to send out press releases for Brad, the Melmax, and Micah and the Mirrors, and I got a punk radio station that was like, please remove us from your mailing list.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. I looked at his playlist and I'm like, dude, you play like No Effects and Anti-Flag, like it's fine. Like I'll be back to, like punkier stuff in a couple months. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm like, I see where your radio is. I'm not losing anything. But the idea of setting up like a new account, a new email address, a new it was just exhausting. And then and try to like grow a new base. I'm already checking 3 different Instagram accounts and the TikTok account and my Facebook account, and so no. I could never, never even imagine trying to branch out any further.
So you're saying if like the house band at Jabba's Palace or the band
the band?
Yeah, or the Cantina, the band at Mos Eisley Cantina would come to you and say, we want you to release a record, Ted. You just flat out deny.
I have a very nice email that I send to people where it's not appropriate, it doesn't fit, and I let them down very easily.
Wow, poor Slice Noodles.
Slice Noodles would be tough, but. Well, on that side, if you press 500 records, you're like, well, I'm sitting on 470 records.
Right. I will say,
and the handful of records I'm sitting on, like they take up a lot of space. Not Brad though. Not Brad.
Yes. No, but like to Ted's point about his own label and stuff, it's like sometimes I'm like, I hope people don't think like I'm too soft for his label or something like that, because to me, I hope that people. I sort of feel like a chameleon to an extent. Like I think my type of music, whatever you want to call it, some people call it power pop, some people call it rock and roll, punk, poppy, power, whatever. I think it could fit on like a bill with pretty much anybody that's like
Yeah,
what
I
I
think
would
so.
consider cool. Like, I mean, I've played like with the Ravagers at like Down South Showdown or whatever, and I think I think I could fit in. We've played like Teddy. You got me in touch with Jenny Thunders, and like we did Fierce. We're like the house band at Fierce City.
Yeah, that's right.
But I've played that festival like 4 times, and like people seem to like us, and like there's definitely like some hardcore bands on there and stuff, and I've met so many cool people through it, and so hopefully, I feel like we can fit in with any kind of style that I like. It's like I don't think we're too out of place if anywhere. Hopefully.
Well, I always think like guitar-driven rock and roll is what I always tell people. I'm like a guitar-driven band. Yes, okay, we're into it.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you've
Like,
had like Sweet Things. You've had but didn't you have that Barracudas LP, that Jordan Jones LP on your?
Yes,
it's like Brad fits right in there.
Absolutely. Like Jordan Jones was the first kind of like I was doing like dirtier rock and roll, but the Jordan Jones record, he emailed it to me and I sat on it for months. But I listened to it a ton, and eventually I was like, I'm really, really into this record. Like, let's do it. And I sold out of the record.
That record's a fucking masterpiece, dude.
It's really, really good. Jordan's, he's just so talented.
I gotta get back into that record. I haven't listened to it in a while, but excellent record.
Fucking killer record. Like, and Jordan's a super nice dude, but I don't know what. He signed to another label. I don't know what he's up to now, but
I'm not sure either. But he changed direction a little bit.
Yes,
yeah.
I kind of remember that. I was like, oh, and I was like, okay, that's a little different, but
yeah. Back to Josh's original question. I definitely remember his second record not being anything like the first.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you almost have to like slowly change direction so no one ever realizes it's happening, and then you're 5 records later and like, okay, I can totally.
I think you want your second record to be a huge departure.
Yeah. In
that's
10
your
years,
industrial record.
Yeah. Brad Marino's doing like honky tonk music. Maybe it'll just be like
look, he
gradual.
did slide guitar on Devil May Care. There's some slides, so he's getting there.
I'm getting there.
Who plays the slide on that?
James Capnun.
I know James Capnun. Yeah, from North Carolina.
Yeah, good guy. I met him actually at the Showdown when we were down there.
Oh, sweet, yeah.
I think he was like a casual fan of mine, or whatever. We might have been social media pals, and I just remember talking to him there, and we've stayed in touch. And I was like, oh, I know he has like a home studio, so I hit him up. And yeah, he killed it. He did lap steel, and he did 12-string acoustic and another acoustic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so all the guitars on that song are actually James.
That's killer.
Yeah.
So you obviously have proven in the past that if you want to, you can do a whole record by yourself. You can play everything. Obviously, you've got background as a drummer, but you obviously have this amazing rhythm section on this record. Like, does having those guys in the studio with you like change maybe your approach to recording a record?
So pretty much all my records I've recorded the same way. So the first record, Extra Credit, I went into the studio and I played all the drums. And then I did everything else here at home. I have like a home studio here, and it's very basic. I have a couple of mics, and I have a Focusrite input thing that goes into the Mac, and I use Logic, and I just do everything here at home. And so with this record, Agent of Chaos, It's a very cohesive record, I feel, because it's some of my records. So my first record was just me playing everything except for Chris Rogers mixed it and played the keyboards. Then Looking for Trouble, that's when I brought on Craig Sala, played the drums, and Bobby started getting involved, and I kind of had some different people playing different instruments. So like with this record, I feel like, and like Grin and Barrett, my last record was sort of like had two drummers. Some of my records are like, it's either like, it seems to be one or two extremes. It's either just me and maybe like one other guy, or it's like a whole party full of people, you know? And this one is sort of in between. It's like Gene plays the drums on pretty much all the songs. There is a couple of tracks with a different drummer, but Gene plays the drums and Bobby does a lot of the bass. But the way the record was recorded, so it's funny. I mean, I'll be honest to the listeners and to you guys. I mean, I don't invest a ton of money in recording. I think there's so many bands that go out and they book studio time and they hire big producers, or they I fell into it a little bit with Grin and Barrett. I wanted like one really well produced or mixed record, and so I paid the money for like really top notch mixing, you know, with Mike Kennedy. And I've just decided, you know, I mean, it's just not worth it. I want my records to sound good, as good as they possibly can, but the tonality or the overall sound, I mean, I think that rock and roll and punk is raw anyways, and I just think it's not affecting gross record sales. So
the way frankly that I recorded this record, you know, I basically record everything at home. I do the drums in a studio and I do everything at home. You know, I have a couple of mics, couple of amps, I have Logic and a MacBook, and I just record up here. You know, usually when I'm supposed to be working my day job, when it's slow, I can just record whenever I want. Nobody's home, the kids are gone, my wife's gone, and that's when I write my songs and do my recording. And so that's why Gene ended up even getting involved with the record. Is Craig Sala is like the live drummer in the band, and he's played on records in the past as well, obviously. But I really try to mitigate the costs in the studio, because it's just like, I know at this point what I am. I ain't getting any. I'm not on the ascend anymore. I mean, you know, I'm pushing 40, and I've been doing it a while, and this is my fifth solo album. And so, you know, it's just some bands spend a lot of money and maybe they have it. I don't have that disposable income, at least that I want to invest in, you know, $500 or $600 a day studios anymore. So I think a big part of it is mixing and mastering. Like, as long as it's recorded, you know, even an amateur like me can put a microphone on an amp and get a good sound out of it. So this record, so Gene Champagne plays drums on the record. But he, truth be told, was in Canada. So he lives in Canada. And so I sent him the demos with a click track. Well, I took the click out, but I gave him the BPMs, and then he just played along to the demos, sent me back the drums, and then I did everything else here. And so, yeah, so like we weren't in the room together at all. It was recorded Rochester, New Hampshire. Bobby, he lives down the street from me, but like, I just sent him the songs and I said, put some bass down. And if there was a couple of songs where I felt like I wanted to do the bass, I just used my bass tracks. So it worked out well, though. I mean, to me, it sounds very harmonious. You know, I don't think it sounds like, you know, four dudes that aren't in the same room or even the same country. And it was just a very efficient way to record, right? Like, I had the demos, and the way I do my demos too, they pretty much sound a lot like the final product. It's just all me. And so Gene had something, you know, real that he could play along with. It wasn't just like a crappy, to be honest, like recording in the studio, it's worse probably, because it's just a scratch vocal and you're playing the song 10 times to get a take. This way, the scratch take was just in Gene's ears. I mean, ask him how it went for him, but I think it went well with just the BPMs, and he set the click and did it up there. And then this guy, Ron Mullins, another guy who I'd never met before, but we were social media friends. I noticed he had bought in a couple of records in the past, similar to the situation with James. And he plays with the Queers right now, Ron. So I did actually meet him last summer. But yeah, I just, same thing. I with him, I sent him the song, and you know, I would wake up the next morning and I would have an email from him with a complete take with piano, a complete take with organ, and he just said pick and choose what you want for the song and dump it in. So that's how the record was recorded. So it definitely helps to answer your question to have a good rhythm section for sure. But in this case, I mean, it was put together in such a way that it we weren't even in the same room. We weren't even in the same studio.
Hmm. So Brad, you were talking about all the dudes that have been on your records or playing your records, but who? And I don't know if I'm sure you've thought about this at some point, but who would be like your ultimate backing band? Just even like musicians from throughout rock and roll history.
So
Oh,
that's
God.
living or dead. Living or dead.
Yeah, living or dead.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I mean, I'd probably still pick Craig Sala and Bobby Davis. Just kidding. Sorry, guys. Well, that's tough. I think for drums, probably, like, honestly, maybe it's probably Marky Ramone. I just think like his style fits my music. It's a little too on the nose now, like the way obviously he's older and everything, but like I like that powerful drum, the fast hi-hat stuff and that power behind it. Yeah, that's a tough question. There's so many greats, right? Like, everybody would want Keith Richards in their band, but um probably Marky on drums, maybe somebody with a little dynamic on the bass. Got to think about that. What do you think, Ted? Who would you pick if you were starting a band?
Oh, Phil Lynott.
Yeah,
Phil Lynott
okay.
on bass. I thought
He
I
might
was
be
going
like,
to guess you were going to say Clem Burke on drums, but yeah, Marky
well,
Ramone is also great.
fun fact, Ted, in case you didn't know, Clem Burke is a former member of the Brad Marino band.
I did not know this. Please expand.
So, maybe I should say old Elvis Ramone. No,
Exactly.
no, we played a show in Portland, Maine. Boy, this is really coming full circle. Back in like a couple years ago, probably 22, 23, something like that. And Clem was playing drums for one of his many bands, the Split Squad, I think it is. Is that right, Josh or Jay?
Yeah, I think that is right. Yeah.
He was touring with them, which, I mean, when you think about it, right, like Clem is an amazing, was, unfortunately, I have to say was now, but an amazing drummer. And just like, he is like a rock and roll Hall of Famer. Like he's played on so many great records and with so many people. And here he is playing Gino's Rock Club with Brad Marino band. And I don't mean that in any way towards the Split Squad negatively, but it's just like your drummer is like this legendary dude, and like he's just sitting in the green room eating a taco, and we just were like,
in
hey,
Maine,
man,
eating a Maine
in
taco.
Maine, yeah, eating a taco. Maybe it was a fish taco, but I mean, and we had met him a couple of times, like in the Connection days too, and just super down to earth, sweet guy. But so of course we were just like, hey man, you want to like jump up and maybe do like a Ramon song or something? He was like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. And he jumped up and we did a song, and so that's kind of my fun fact joke. Like, yeah, he's a Brad Marino band alumni now.
No, that's pretty sweet. That's a good story.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Yeah, the rest of the band, I don't know. You know what I'll say? I'll say, oh, B-Face, he used to be in the band. Chris Barnard from the Queers and the Real Kids and everything. But yeah, I'll say Bobby Davis, Marky Ramone, and let's see, second guitar player. Sometimes I have a second guitar player, sometimes I don't. Depends on my mood. So technically I don't need anybody else, but I guess I just got to say, if you could have him in the band. Oh, who? Dave Edmonds.
Ooh.
I was going to say Keith, but that's just also too like, oh, everybody wants Keith, right? Dave Edmonds.
Well, so you don't want him showing you up with his handkerchiefs and bandanas.
Exactly.
Really
Yes.
taking
Exactly.
away your shine.
That's the main thing. No,
You
really,
have somebody
because
play the slide though.
Yeah. 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 Might need Mick Taylor for that, but I don't know. There's so many, right? Like, yeah, that'd be a pretty good band.
So I think a lot of people listening to this just might not really know what this is like. I think you guys can speak to this. Like, how hard is it to sell vinyl records in 2026? Like, I feel like maybe like 30 years ago, like you could have punk bands selling tens of thousands of records, but like right now, like how many records would you have to sell for something to be like, yeah, that's a lot?
It's hard. No, it's definitely harder. As someone was asking me the other day, and there's a lot of factors. And one, I always think like, why are we buying records when you can stream it for technically sort of free? You know, um, and I was saying we were talking about singles the other day, like buying 45s, and I was saying to someone that it's hard to sell a 45 because after you press the 45, there's that cost. I'm like, then you got to add in shipping, which is like $5 or $6. Then you have to add in tax, and before you know it, you're at $16 or $17 for a single. Like, and who's going to pay $16 or $17 for a single? That's insane. No, it's increasingly harder every year. Vinyl is very popular, but even if you look at like what people buy, like the best selling records of the year, it's usually just represses. It'll be like Fleetwood Mac and Pink Floyd and Michael Jackson, or like Taylor Swift records. New band records or current bands aren't as popular. It's just kind of like your big mega artists. So it's harder every single year. Yeah, I look at the numbers and yeah, it's tough, but we do this because this is what we love doing. And Brad, I don't know about you at shows. Like, are people buying tons of like vinyl records, or because even like growing up when I was younger, going to shows, like walking around with like a vinyl album at a show was a huge pain in the ass.
It's a great question. It's for me as like an artist. I mean, I just hope that like Teddy and the other labels can sell their share of the pressing over the course of like hopefully a couple of years. Like I'm not like we pressed 300, and like I think 300 is a good number for vinyl for an artist of my ilk. But we'll be lucky to sell them all. We're not going to sell them all like April 3rd when it comes out. It's going to be a slow burn. So for me, like I think that basically like a Brad Marino record, for instance, probably sells CD, digital, and vinyl like maybe 400 copies, like 500 maybe. You know, um, I don't know what other bands do. I mean, I'm sort of in one tier. There's people that are above my tier that sell more, and people below my tier that sell less.
Yeah.
It's really. I think I'm in a good spot. I feel like I still do music because I feel like there's at least enough of an audience to make it worthwhile. Like the worst feeling would be to be like recording something that you think is awesome and being like, I feel like I would be like, what's the point? Nobody's going to listen to this. But I see the active streaming numbers, and I see enough people tagging me with a copy of my record that I feel comfortable that people are listening. I mean, at shows, I mean, yeah, I mean, in the United States, it's just, I just give up here. I really do. As far as like shows and selling stuff at shows, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, the best show in the past couple of years that I've done where I've sold a lot of records, we opened for Marky Ramone, and everybody loved us. And I had that Ramones and Stones 45 that Marco put out, and people were all over that. It was like and that's what we do with shows. Like I'm not lugging my AC-15 up a flight of stairs in Providence on a Monday night over a snowbank to play to 13 barflies and sell nothing. And that's the average experience, I feel like, for shows. If it's a show where we're opening yeah, go ahead.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. The shows in Europe do better than the shows in the States, is what I understand.
So I was yes, in the US, I give up. In Spain, and that's why I'm literally going to Spain for 10 days. And I think the business model for a band like me, I think any bands listening should probably just, I'm not saying what I do is right, but there's a lot of bands that do, frankly, in my opinion only, waste their time getting in a van and driving around the United States. it just ain't worth it. And people don't have the money, the expendable income, even frankly. They may like your band, but they don't have $20 or whatever to buy a vinyl. I mean, even some of the good shows we play, I might sell 2 copies. But in Spain or Europe at large, you're going to sell a lot of stuff. I sell a shitload of merch in Spain. I mean, when I went a couple years, I mean, every time I've gone, whether it's solo or the connection, like they swarm that merch table and they want everything. If they don't have it, they're buying it. Vinyl, they will spend $60, $100. It's just a totally different ball game there, and it's kind of hard to understand for people that haven't been there. But like when I go on this tour, I mean, hopefully I'm not jinxing myself, but I expect to do well on merch. And that's why I'm going, right? Like I'm trying to do the cycle of what a real band would do, right? Like when a band puts out a new record, they're gonna go on tour. You know, there's other factors like my family and job and everything why I can't just get in a van and drive around. I have to be tactical about it. And so the tactic is put out the record and go to the place where you have the most fans and can sell the most records, and that's Spain. So that's what I'm gonna do. And so yeah, over there, I mean, yeah, some nights you could sell like 20 records.
Wow. In one night. In what?
Oh, in one night, easily. Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
people are buying 2 at a time. I mean, it's really, really crazy. Like we played a sold out show in Madrid, I think in 2023. And like, I don't think the driver was Tebow from Los Lulis.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Tebow. So yeah, like he knew Chase Tail and everything because I had my Rambler pin, and like I think he was over here touring with Chase last year. So I don't think he knew. Like he's probably like, who the hell is this Brad Marino guy? You know, like because it's these 3 guys from New Hampshire, and I think he was surprised, frankly. Like after the show, like it was like Dawn of the Dead. Like he's at the merch, and they just start swarming the table, and you just see him like disappear, and then people want photos, they want autographs. It's a great experience. I mean, not saying every single night's like that, but you can legit, if you bring, like I'm hoping, Ted, for me to sell my cut of the records when I'm there in Spain. Like I should easily be able to sell 50, 60 copies.
That's what I understand. Like going to Europe, Spain, they're a little more ravenous than people in the States. I don't know why, and I don't understand why.
They just love rock and roll. It's just, I don't know. I mean, people like it here. But I don't know what it is. I mean, it's also tough. Like times are tough now, right? I mean, it's hard. I probably spend. I got two kids too, so I mean, I probably spend $600 or $700 a week on groceries sometimes. You know.
Oof.
So it's just like, I don't even really have time to listen to vinyl these days. You know.
Well, it's a process.
It is a process. Like for me, I like to put on the AirPods and I'll listen on Apple Music. I mean, I still buy records to support the artists and stuff. And I just think of it, and I hope other people do that are listening, like a vinyl is an investment, not just for now, but for the future. Because you're not going to remember that great album you streamed in 2026 in 2056. You might literally forget because you don't own it. But like, I hope that someday I open up my record collection and I'm like, oh, here's that great Pale Lips record. Here's, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And put it on and be like, it's like rediscovering and be like, thank God I pulled the trigger on that $25 purchase 20 years ago. Cause you know?
Yeah. You know, my next question was going to be, what do you guys think is some of the reasons why, you know, despite, you know, Apple Music, Spotify, Bandcamp, why do you think physical media just refuses to die? People just keep, even like, you know, even my kids, you know, my daughters, they buy records. And I asked my daughter, you know, she wanted to go to the record store. So I was driving her to the record store, and I kind of asked her, I'm like, so let me ask you something. You know, we've got Spotify. Why do you want records? You know, and she goes, Dad, I feel more a part of the experience. I feel more a part of the artist, the group when I own a record. You know, I'm like, okay, I'll buy that. But what do you guys think?
It's funny actually you say that because like I'm doing house renovation, and we're moving bedrooms, and I've had move my record collection from one side of the room, one side of the house to the other, and I'm kind of refiling everything, and like 10% of the records aren't even opened, and I'm like, I never even listened to. Like, I mean, I've listened to it, but I never even opened it. I mean, for us, or as a Gen Xer, that's just what we did. We just bought records. And I have bought plenty of records of bands where I'm like, well, they're here, on tour. I'll buy the record to support the tour and help them out while they're in the city. But then there's also the weird, not everything is. I was talking about movies with this, about movies today with someone. I'm like, not everything is streaming still. I'm like, but when you own it physically, I'm like, you have it forever. I'm like, where you may buy a movie on Amazon, but the license may run out in 5 years, and you no longer have that movie or access to it. I'm like, you have this forever. There's also the I was thinking about like some Rolling Stones records and the covers, and I'm like, if you have it on streaming, I'm like, you're missing all these great nuances in the art of the album, like the album art. Like, you're missing it. You're not going to see it. You're not going to see these great things going on. So, I mean, there's just multiple levels of why we're all still. I'm still buying records.
Yeah, I agree with all that. It's kind of what I was saying. Like, you buy it now, and like Ted, you said you had some that aren't even opened, and it's like, but maybe you'll pop it on later this year or 5 years from now and be like, damn, this record rocks. I'm glad I bought it. And
oh yeah, it's like that therapeutic moment of like, I'm going to take this out, I'm going to put it on the platter, put the needle on, and like sit back and play this record. It's going to be awesome. Like,
yeah, and also I agree with like cover art. I think good album art can make or break a record. I really do. I think like it sounds kind of silly, but like that represents the record, and you should be able to pick up a record and almost know if it's going to be good. And I'm not saying every record has to be like that, but there's some records artwork can make it. And I do also, and this is why I push for, not push like everybody, usually the labels want to do it. I don't think it costs a ton to do an insert, but it's like you were saying at the beginning, Josh, or like Gene, like having a picture of the guys that played on the record, give them a little credit and a little attention. And I like to read lyrics, and I always find it interesting, like you said, Teddy, like Stones as an example, like, oh shit, that's not Bill Wyman on that, that's Keith playing bass, or oh, that's Ron Wood doing drums on this random track. So it's kind of cool to read the credits too, and like you discover other artists and everything, because it just like you'll see a guy like, and that's why I try to include different people too, to like hopefully shine a light on their talent, or if they have their own music, like hopefully people will look into it. So yeah, I think that's why supporting, and number one hopefully is to support the labels or the artists.
It's funny you're talking about bands, different musicians playing on the record. So I was filing my Johnny Thunders records this week. Brad, you may have seen on TikTok.
Yeah, I saw that. I did.
But I was looking at like the LAMF record and the players, but then I was looking, I'm like, who plays on So Alone? I never even looked at that closely, and I'm like, it's completely different, and I don't even think it was any American musicians on it aside from Johnny Thunders. But like, if you're streaming it, you're just gonna miss that. Like, oh, it's Johnny Thunders and guys.
One good thing about streaming lately is, so I switched to Apple Music a couple years ago. The sound quality is way better, and they had credits. And now Spotify, because I think Apple did it first, now they do actually put like credit songwriting and like who plays what.
You can click through it, because some bands I know have been salty that they haven't been credited on certain. Yeah, they've been like, I didn't get credited, and I'm like, well, that wasn't really a thing, when we uploaded it.
Well, yeah, and to your point, I mean, you'd have to do a couple of clicks. It's not like
it is multiple
next to you, and you're like, oh, cool.
It's buried. It's in there, but it's buried. Like, producers will be like, I'm not credited. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, I mean, and also no offense, but nobody probably really cares.
Only other musicians care. That's it. Only other musicians.
Yes.
And
like it gets deep on like Apple, or the credits. It's like art director and like associate producer of this, and it's just like
yeah, most people are not interested.
Yeah.
Except for Jay. He loves it.
Jay wants to know every credit Who's the
He's
mixer?
weirdly into mastering, which makes no
Yeah.
sense. Like for a guy who's not a musician,
Who
he'd be
did the
weirdly-
mastering and who
mastered this?
who employed the masterer?
It's too bassy.
What didn't Howie Weinberg do?
So I was just reflecting a little bit on my evolution in my musical tastes or the lack thereof, and kind of thinking like, oh man, like I'm pretty much listening to the same stuff 30 years later, or new bands that sound like the stuff I was listening to 30 years ago, which was stuff that sounded like it came out 20 years before that. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, have you guys noticed any personal progression in your musical tastes or not?
No, I mean, yeah. So I noticed the stuff I listen to kind of is in a similar vein. There is like, the similarity of like, yes, like I like this kind of rock and roll, but every once in a while something will like pop into where I'm like, this is not what I normally listen to, but I love it and I'm obsessed with it now. Of like a certain band, not a genre, but like of a band.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a period, like when I was a teenage punk rocker, it's just like I just listen to punk. And I think everybody goes through that phase that I just listen to punk, and punk's the only music that's cool. And then so I think for me, my development and all that started, when I was young, but getting older. It's like you listen to bands that were influenced by and sound like the Ramones, say, and you're into Black Flag and the Queers and just all the punk stuff. And then you kind of, for me, I started dabbling in like the 77 punk and the Dolls and things like that. And then from there, it's just like bands. So for me, it was like bands that sound like the bands I like. And then it's who were the bands that influenced the bands I liked. So, and then, so that's when I think my taste broadened and I started to appreciate, the original rock and roll bands, the 60s stuff and everything. I mean, and so that's kind of when my palette expanded, when I was digging into what made bands that I liked want to pick up their guitars. Now, no,
So,
I mean, now I'm just setting my own way. Like, no, I'm not. I listen to new music. Like I said, I have my playlist, and there's a lot of great music this year, especially. It's crazy all the great stuff that's coming out. But yeah, no, I don't think I'll be getting into hip hop or, Latin sounds or anything.
Oh, it's funny when you talk about like the bands that you listen to what they were interested in. I remember reading "Please Kill Me," and it was before the era of streaming, and I'd have to like read the book, and then they would reference a band, then I'd have to go to the back of the book to see the notes on the band, and then I'd have to be like, well, I guess I have to order this CD now, and then I have to order that, and then get it, and then decide if I like it or not. But that's how I started listening to like Suicide or like Velvet Underground or stuff like that too.
Yeah. Totally. We had a
Yep.
tough. We earned our rock and roll cred. Like we had to buy CDs or vinyl or borrow our friends' cassette tape or whatever. I mean, that's how I even discovered the Ramones, to be honest. Like I was like 14 or something, and like a buddy of mine had All the Stuff and More volumes 1 and 2 and let me listen to it in study hall or something in like whatever year.
Brad, you were in
school.
detention. You don't have to pretend.
Yeah, yes, I was in detention.
Please, you were in
So,
detention.
Yeah, I was in detention. So yeah. But back then, like you listen to the CD in detention, and then you go home, and it's just like, well, I don't have a Ramones CD, or I don't have, or I'd listen to the Velvet Underground. Like my buddy was into them, and like I would drive around in his '93 Camry and listen to the Velvet Underground. But I didn't have any Velvet Underground at home, so couldn't just stream it. So there is some advantages of streaming, I would say, as far as discovering music.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah, I love it and I hate it, but yeah, there's definitely advantages.
It's a necessary evil, and for
Yeah,
me,
I do agree with that.
I mean, as an artist, a hell of a lot less people would be listening to Brad Marino music worldwide if it wasn't for streaming. Like they would have to,
especially worldwide. Yeah.
yeah, people in Japan like listening, and like they'd have to write to you, Ted, and special order and charge them $100 for shipping.
It is a process. It's a process.
Yeah. So how are you guys doing on time? We're almost done. We got like a few more questions. Do you want us to start wrapping it up now, or?
I just didn't want to start at 10.
Fuck no, man. Yeah, Brad's got to get his beauty sleep.
But you guys are good. You guys are good.
Yeah,
You're good. Okay, so I want to ask you. Speaking of stuff in the past, I want to ask you guys a few quick questions. I've been going through my old interviews, and one of the questions I used to ask people is, so I want to ask you both. Maybe we can start with Brad. What was the first record you remember buying on your own?
Probably. Actually, it was a cassette, and it was "What's the Story, Morning Glory."
Oh God.
Yep.
Yeah.
What, you don't like that album?
No, I love that.
No,
album.
he likes it.
I know.
I'm like, Brad's under 40. God damn it.
Yeah, that's the one I specifically remember. And I think, like I said in the shock treatment interview that I did with you, Jay, that's going to be coming out. Like the 90s were a weird period, right? Because there was still like a lot of good rock music being made, and punk obviously had its second coming and everything. So, but I don't know why it was. Yeah. So what year was that record? Like 95?
95 or 96. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have been like 8 or 9. And I don't know.
That's the.
Isn't it funny that is it weird to you guys that are a little older than me, like that I listened to cassettes in the 90s?
Kind
you guys
of.
like, yeah.
Well, cassettes were cheaper. Cassettes were cheaper to buy.
Okay.
They were, yeah. Like a CD was like $15 or $20. And
Yeah,
was
CDs
like
were the max. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't buy that myself. I wanted it, and my dad probably took me to NRM Music, and he probably bought it for me. But that was the first like album I wanted that I was interested in purchasing and actively listening to. And then it was probably like, probably like Dookie or Smash Mouth. I was into Fush You Mang. I remember buying that tape.
So yeah, Dookie was like 94, and then that was like 96.
Okay.
97.
Yeah, I guess it's not that weird because I remember having Dookie on cassette. So yeah. I guess
vinyl was kind of phasing out. CDs were really expensive, so cassette would totally make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was CDs in the later part of the 90s for sure. But yeah, for a while it was tapes. I remember. What's the Story, Morning Glory? I knew you liked that album, Ted. I was just kidding.
I love that. It's a great album. It
is.
So mine is Stranger. So I don't know. It was probably like 1986. I kind of remember getting the single for Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, Parents Just Don't Understand.
Wow. Nice.
So I got that single. I remember having to go to the mall to buy that single.
So Fresh Prince, for those of us who were not born yet, when you bought that tape or single.
So you're just turning the night.
So like I obviously
it's Will Smith.
No, yes, but totally. But so the show, how far did that record precede the television?
I think quite a bit. A bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was like a year or two later. I think it was years and years later.
Like the 90s, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was 2 years. I think because I think the 88 was the first single, and the show came out in 90.
Oh, is that look at Josh, full of knowledge.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, it is very. I'm like that is nerdy as hell. But
I definitely had a Will Smith CD or two back in my day too. Probably.
Come on, Summertime was a big hit.
Getting jiggy with it.
That was.
Well, yeah, that was like 99. Or 898.
I don't think I bought that one.
Was that the Men in Black? Was that the song he did for Men in Black? I don't know. Maybe
So I
No,
can tell you,
that's Here Come the Men in Black.
Oh yeah, I guess that would be it, huh?
I was working at Sony then when they put out Get Jiggy with It, and I remember my bosses. We had to make video copies of when Seinfeld referenced. He said I was getting jiggy with it, and then they had to send it out to all these radio programmers to be like, "Look how cool this is."
Oh, really?
We got referenced on Seinfeld. That's how good of a song it is.
Wow.
That's funny. All right, so
Yeah.
next question,
so
guys.
Jay and Josh, what were the first records you remember buying? Because I'm hanging out here with nothing cool.
Oh, my first
Brad's
cassette.
is way cooler.
Yeah.
My first cassette was Duran Duran's "Seven and the Ragged Tiger."
Nice. Nice.
That's pretty badass. I was just lucky to have been born at the kind of the right time because
That was Poison. It was the first Poison record.
I wasn't too far behind that.
I know you're in Pennsylvania, so it was Mechanicsburg's finest.
Mechanicsburg's finest. That's right. But it was an 8-track tape of Blondie's Parallel Lines. I was
Well,
third
and
grade.
Josh is the big winner here. Josh
And who
with the
knew
8-track
back
and
then?
Parallel Lines.
Yeah, when little Josh was listening to Parallel Lines, who knew that 40-something years later, that drummer would be playing in the Brad Marino band at Gina's Rock Club.
Oh.
That's full circle. That's full circle.
All right, so my next question for you guys is what band or musician's poster do you remember first going up on your bedroom wall?
I remember this, but
Go ahead, Tim.
it was either Metallica or Anthrax. Unquestionably, my parents did not care for it at all. They were very, and I had to put it on the back of my bedroom door so they wouldn't see it.
Didn't want to look at Lars when they came into your bedroom.
Yeah. I mean, he's no, Lars is no Clem Burke, but
I don't think posters were a big thing for me. I also shared a bedroom at one point for a while with my little
was it
brother.
bunk beds?
No, it was two single beds packed into a room. But I think what I did is I had like Guitar World magazine or whatever, some guitar magazine. I definitely remember having Dexter and Noodles from The Offspring. Or on, and I think I'm trying to think. I think I had just like 90s rock. Just like sometimes I remember I would like tape the CD booklet to the wall if it had like good artwork. You know,
That was
you
just
kinda make your own-
just all corn CDs.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't know if I ever bought a Korn CD. Can't remember. I know my parents would not have been a fan of me listening to Korn. That's for sure.
Parental advisory, man. It's frowned
Yeah,
on.
that was a big thing. I remember like my dad took me to buy a CD. Might have been an Offspring CD. Probably Americana. Because that's like right when I was really getting into, and I remember specifically they had a big wall of them and they all said parental advisory. And they had some that didn't have it that were like edited, but I obviously wanted the one with swears. And I remember taking my thumb and covering it and being like, "See, Dad, I got the clean one," and it worked.
So I was working at Sony then also when we put that out, and they would have to make a clean edit specifically for Walmart stores. They'd be like, at that time, Walmart.
That was the
Walmart
thing.
was a big music seller then. And they're
right.
like, if we want to be in Walmart, we have to have a clean CD to put out.
I totally forgot about that. That was a thing, and it wasn't that long ago that they stopped that. I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably been 10 or 15 years, maybe, but I do remember that.
I think Walmart now just has like Fleetwood Mac and
they have a big vinyl section.
Yeah. So
$40 records.
I did buy a Wu-Tang record there, and it's not edited. So,
Ooh, okay.
progress.
Yeah.
yes.
So let me ask you guys this: what band shirt do you guys remember first owning?
Oh,
Hmm.
I do know this because I still have the shirt. It's when I went and saw Guar in 1991, and it's from the Scumdogs of the Universe tour. I still have the shirt. I do not fit in the shirt, and that's the debate of, do I sell the shirt or do I keep it in the
No,
drawer
you
that I'll
keep
never
it.
wear?
You got to keep that,
So
I would
yeah,
think.
yeah, and that was also another shirt where I had to be very selective about when I wore it, because trying to explain Guar to your parents was not easy.
Yeah,
When you're 15 years old, like, there's no way you can sell it to your parents as like it's this funny, goofy act. Like, it's gonna come off all. Well, no, they're cutting off body parts. It's very funny.
It's hilarious, Dad.
Oh no, you would love it. You'd love it.
I don't know if I recall like what my first T-shirt. It probably would have been like a shirt I got at a concert.
You
I remember
you
like
got it
so.
at like the Rochester County Fair or something.
Yeah, maybe. No, you know what was big for me actually uh, in my formative years? Like South Park had just come out when I was like in middle school and like seventh grade or something like that. And everybody had South Park shirts. So I do remember buying like a South Park shirt that was like all the rage. But music probably like a concert shirt from, like I said, probably like The Offspring or maybe Green Day, something like that.
Yeah, that would check out.
Yeah.
Not cheesy salty balls shirt, but Offspring. And Jay and Josh, do you want to share with something cooler and one up us again?
The first concert shirt, I think it's not gonna one up anybody. Probably would have been from the first show I went to was Motley Crue in the Girls tour.
Hey, again,
Oh.
you just one upped us. So
Yes.
just stop.
So I have
So fun story about Girls. They reference the Tattletale in Atlanta.
Oh
And
yeah,
I've only been to the Tattletale here solely for that reason, because I'm like, well, it's
really.
and girls. I had friends who worked there, and they're like, you should come, and I'm like, I'm not interested. Like, I'm not really into titty bars, and they're like, I'll get you in for free, and the dancers won't bother you, and the beer is $5. And I'm like, okay, like I can handle with that. I'm like, also, it's very clearly
You son of a
referencing-
bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, that's really what it was. I was like, fine, I'll go. Fine. I'm not paying a $20 cover.
Yeah, I have the sort of like that bare bones like AC/DC T-shirt, like the Butthead wears.
Yeah.
So, that was my fourth grade look.
Yeah, again, we're not going to one up you. Motley Crue, girls, and ACD. No, those are really killer shirts.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brad,
So-
we lose.
So,
Yeah.
Brad, you actually referenced this earlier. We did want to ask this. It does seem like 2026 is just already on fire for new music. So many good records already, and a couple like really huge things coming out on Spaghetty Town. And it's a really, really wild year. Like, what are some of your guys' like favorite things you've been listening to so far this year?
I've been really into Maud Lang. That record.
That's so good.
Oh, it's a great record.
Really good stuff. What else? Daniel Romano Outfit has a new record out. I haven't listened to it a ton, but the singles I liked. So I got to dig into that one. Honestly, the new Black Crowes is pretty killer for more of like a
Is it?
mainstream type of stuff. Yeah, it's super like Exile and Main Street ripoff stuff, but if you like that sort of thing, it's good. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. The Taste Testers. You guys.
Oh,
check them out?
yeah.
Punky, goofy, fun, like just punk rock stuff. I like that. I should look. Oop, did I lose you guys?
Sorry, no,
I
you're
still
good.
hear you.
Yeah, I don't know that. I'm trying to think off the top of my head what else. It's just been a ton. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm forgetting stuff. Go ahead, Ted.
New Dahmer's record is really, really good.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that just came out and is killer. And Sex Mex, I think he's out of Texas. He just put out a single that's really, really solid. Yeah, those are two cool ones.
I have to check out the Sex Mex, but yeah, I agree on the first one there.
Yeah, dude, Dahmer's record is killer. Like, I caught them on tour last year or the year before, and they just maybe 2 years ago they were awesome, and they'll probably never come back to the States.
You put out a single by them, didn't you, a couple years ago?
I did, and
Or
it's
co-released
becoming
it.
increasingly harder for foreign bands from overseas to come to the States, so they'll probably never come back to the States.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys a similar question about shows. Ted, I know you're a big concert guy. Are there any shows or tours you guys are looking forward to seeing?
Well, backing up to or piggybacking with Josh, AC/DC's playing in August, and I'm imagining it'll probably be their last tour. They're much older gentlemen. The Hives are on tour, and they are always very, very, very good live. Really exceptionally good live.
Yeah.
And I am going to see my in-laws in Japan next month, and I'll catch the Pee-wees there, which will also be very nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm really, really very. I can't see them in the States, but so it's Europe or Japan, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were going to tour last year, right?
Yeah, they
US.
did everything right and above board, and their visa just never came through. I mean, it's always been hard for bands to get visas, but yeah, it's just harder now for bands to get visas.
Japan, I'm sure, will be better.
Oh, Japan's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be nuts.
So I would have liked to have played one of the shows with the Pee-wees here in the States, but maybe in Europe.
Well, you'll have to go to Europe. Well, you're doing that cool. You're doing that cool fest show with it's like the Jackets and the.
Oh yeah, we're doing a couple fests on that tour.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, or we're playing with the Briefs.
Oh yeah. You're just gonna ask taste testers questions.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Brad, what do you like? What have you seen that's good? Or you're looking forward to? I know it's just shows at O'Brien's Pub in Boston, but
yeah, exactly. I missed a great one the other day. Like I said, the two bands I mentioned, Maud Lang and Daniel Romano outfit, or Romero. What is it? It's past my bedtime a little bit, but yeah, the listeners will know. They just played at Boston, but
someone's gonna be
Boston. It's weird. Yes. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have any concerts on the books. I kind of went through a phase, like 10 years ago, where I just wanted to see every concert because they were all going to die. And, I figured better to see them, and which is a big debate, right? About like, when should you hang it up? But I kind of don't think you should. Like, I think as a fan, you got to go into it and understand, like, Angus Young is 80 or whatever he is now. Like,
he's actually not that old. I mean, yes, he's older.
He's probably like 74, maybe.
I think he's like 70, man.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, he's not that old. So,
he's older. He's an older guy for sure, but he's not super. He's not Keith Richards old.
No, but like, speaking of Keith, like, honestly, I've seen them a few times, and the last time was maybe the best. And unfortunately, Charlie Watts wasn't there, but it was like an amazing show. And I think that maybe having as sacrilegious as it sounds, like a different drummer kind of made them focus more and be like, oh shit, it's not just Charlie where we can just kind of mail it in and just like let him drive us. Like, they had to actually focus and retool and like put focus into it more. So it was a really good show. So I kind of
they're keeping it fresh. They're keeping it fresh.
Yeah, you kind of forced them to keep it fresh because it's just, they play the same 20 songs every night. But I don't know. I don't have any. I don't go to a lot of concerts now because there's just nothing, frankly, worth seeing. It's tough for me being in New Hampshire. Like Boston is close, but it's also far, and Boston
Right.
sucks to park and drive and everything. Like getting to Boston, it's like an hour from me, but it's really like an hour and a half because there's nowhere to park or it's expensive. It's not as easy, and that's where nobody comes to New Hampshire to tour. Although Marshall Crenshaw just played in my town, like down the street at the Opera House, but that show was
Wow.
awful. I left halfway through; it was so bad.
What?
You got to play the hits, man. Like Jeff Palmer says, like um, you can't be doing 20-minute blues jams if you're Marshall Crenshaw.
Yeah, it's funny. I went and saw Television like 20 years ago, and I was very, very, very excited. And I didn't realize it was 2 hours of Tom Verlaine dicking around on guitar to then play like 3 songs at the end for Marquee Moon.
Yeah.
And everyone I
No,
talked to, they're like, no, that's what they always do. Like, you didn't know? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I did not know.
You have to earn the Marquee Moon songs by listening to the new shit.
Sit here and listen to watch this guy play like Noodle. Like, come on.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't think I have any concert tickets. If at this point, I only would go see bands like AC/DC or the Stones. I think for like Nash, maybe like the Black Crowes if they're playing somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah. Plus, ticket prices are so.
Yeah, they're
fucking
wicked expensive.
too.
If it was like $25 or something,
Shit.
I mean, the last great show I saw was like Hoodoo Gurus.
I missed that show here.
Awesome.
So it's
Yeah,
funny you're fairly complaining about shows in Boston being an hour to an hour and a half away. So I'm in Atlanta, but like there's some shows at some venues where I'm like shit. I'm like it's 10 miles, but still like an hour away. Or there was one I was talking about a show, and I was like, so I can drive there and have to pay $40 to park, or I can Uber and then I'll pay like $80 each way, round trip to Uber. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go to the show anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I'd rather buy a band's record and listen to that.
Yeah.
Like as far as
I can drive and pay to park, but I can't drink, or I can Uber and pay more than the ticket to get there and back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I think every downtown is just shit. Like I know Phoenix, because I live about an hour away from Phoenix, and it sucks. Parking sucks. There's nowhere. But it's funny. Like talk about showing my age. The last couple of shows I went to, like the Maricopa County State Fair in Phoenix, and it was the Violent Femmes. Paid like $30, plenty of parking, great seats, and then the next year the Cult. $30.
That's nice.
I'm like, dude, those bands don't suck, and they were pretty good shows. They're really good shows, actually. So yeah, those are my last two, and yeah, I'm like Brad. I'm like, dude, unless I haven't seen Bruce Springsteen yet, and I know he's coming, and if I can make that happen, I will.
Money.
Yeah, no shit.
Block out 3 hours for the show. Block out 3 hours.
I want to go to the Circle Jerks are playing in Portland, Maine.
Thank you. I was
but dude, I looked and I'm like, that would be cool. It's like 45 minutes for me, and I've never seen them. And but there's like 4 friggin' bands on the bill, and it's $55 with fees or $60. It's not even the money for me. It's just that I don't care about the other bands. Other people probably do. I don't know who they're touring with. But I would only want to see the Circle Jerks, and I ain't gonna sit around and watch 3 or 4 openers.
Yeah.
Well, and half the show also is Keith just talking between songs.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. I mean, I've seen Circle Jerks. I saw him last year, the year before with Negative Approach. They were great and killer, but he's also very chatty. I was working a festival here, and La Tigre was playing, and I joked to a friend, and I said, less talk, more rock, and they gave me stink eye. And then I was like, no, I'm like, same goes with Circle Jerks. I'm like, less talk, more rock. I'm like, I don't care about your politics. I want music.
Yeah, exactly. We all know the politics thing. Just play.
Yeah, Keith he'll be like, Like we know the world is fucked up right now, everybody, but
Yes, we do. That's why we want to see a band play and drink a beer.
yeah, I want to escape.
Have some
I
fun.
want to escape.
Uh,
And Josh, and you? Anything in the pipeline? Any shows?
Shows? I don't get out. I'm a stay at home and listen to music type of person at this stage of my life.
Well, you did
I
have a
hear you.
parallel line to your track, so you get a pass.
So I think we have completed our regularly scheduled programming here. So we would love for you to both let the people know where they can find you online and find your music.
Well, you could find me anywhere that everybody is online by searching Brad Marino. Instagram, YouTube. I'm not very it's very on the nose, shall we say.
I say, luckily, your name is very easy to spell too.
You'd
type
be
Brad Marino
surprised,
band.
Ted. You'd be surprised. Even now at almost 40, people still go MEREN, like, when you're calling them.
Oh, like Marino
This is
Wool.
yes, exactly. It's like, no, like the quarterback is what I say. And I still get that
Dan
all the time
Marino.
too.
Oh, that's-
Any relation to Dan? And I just say, yeah, I went through a phase where I'd be just like, yeah, actually he's my uncle. He's like, no way, really? And I'd be
It's
like,
always yes.
yes, I live in Rochester, New Hampshire. And Dan Marino's my uncle.
Can't
So
you
yes,
tell?
just search.
We look
Can't
the
you tell?
same.
What are you saying about Italians? We all look the same or something? But yeah, Brad Marino. And you can get my record from Spaghetty Town Records.
In North America, so that means you too, Canada. You can go Google Spaghetty Town. That's spaghetti with a Y, and I made my life more complicated that way. You can find us on the Facebook, Instagram. You can find us on TikTok, unfortunately, and you can find Brad on TikTok too. So,
also, unfortunately, Bobby Davis made me do that.
Bobby
He's like,
Davis
you need a
isn't
TikTok.
wrong. He's not wrong.
He's wrong about a
not
lot
wrong.
of things.
I've definitely sold a handful of records solely because of TikTok. I can say that honestly.
That's why I did that video yesterday. I was like, I was thinking of Bobby as I drove up to Vermont, almost Canada.
I like that video.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a TikTok. I knew exactly what rest stop I was gonna take a whiz at, and then I was like, I'm gonna do a TikTok.
He's standing on the side of the road. It's actually very beautiful, and the wind is blowing, and it's like an 80s metal video. His hair is blowing in the wind.
I even took some time and put a filter on it. So,
well, I didn't even notice that. So, it was
follow
very
me on
natural.
TikTok. Yes.
Well, one day, how old's your oldest?
He'll be 7 in like a month.
Yeah, he doesn't have a TikTok. Maybe Jay's kid though.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, follow me. Follow me on TikTok, please. Bobby Davis will be thrilled.
Yeah, you'll be his 7th follower. It'll be big time.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, we ran a little bit over it. I appreciate you guys hanging out despite that fact. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming on. It's always a fun time with Brad Marino and Teddy Spaghetty. Again, Agent of Chaos, available
April 3rd.
April 3rd.
Spaghetty Town Records in North America. What was it? Ghost Highway and Beluga.
Spain and Beluga in Sweden. So Europe is buttoned up.
Yeah, and I believe also Sonic Rendezvous, I think, might have it.
That's a distributor in Europe.
Yeah, I think they're distributing through there, but just get it from the labels, I think, because why not?
Or
come to the Agent of Chaos tour.
Or Brad on Bandcamp and see Brad in Spain.
Yes, if you're listening in Spain, I will see you soon.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Nice having you.
Thank you, guys.